When Shohei Ohtani hit the open market last winter and became a free agent for the first time in his extraordinary MLB career, everybody knew that the two-way sensation was going to land the biggest contract in baseball history. What nobody expected, however, was how crazy the lead-up to that would be, because Ohtani's journey through free agency was a wild ride that produced what was unquestionably the most outrageous day of rumor-mongering the baseball world has ever seen, and a day that will forever haunt baseball fans north of the border. It makes sense in retrospect that the most exciting player in baseball history produced a free agency saga for the ages. At the time, though, nobody saw it coming. After all, it was a foregone conclusion that Ohtani, who had spent the first 6 seasons of his MLB career with the hapless Los Angeles Angels, would move 30 miles north and sign with the Dodgers. It was a perfect fit. Ohtani was already settled in Southern California, and the Dodgers were a model franchise with deeper pockets than virtually any other team in the majors. It was inevitable. Or so it seemed. Ironically, Ohtani's uniquely captivating free agency played out slowly at first, and quietly. Ohtani's camp insisted on that. About 2 weeks after free agency opened, in fact, ESPN's Jeff Passan reported that if visits between Ohtani and a team were reported publicly, it would be held against the team. That didn't stop reporters from trying to do their jobs, though, and eventually, Ohtani's market began to take shape publicly. It included the Dodgers. Not surprisingly, it included the Angels. It also included the Chicago Cubs and San Francisco Giants and Toronto Blue Jays, and possibly other teams too. And as November flipped to December, the offers started coming in, and they were astronomical. According to John Heyman of the New York Post, as the annual winter meetings loomed, Ohtani had already received multiple offers of more than $500 million. And some were speculating that he could command $600 million, or roughly $250 million more than baseball's previous largest free agent contract. Yeah, this was a big deal. But while the teams involved were trying to keep things as close to the vest as possible, there was some slippage at the winter meetings, some deliberate and some not. Notably, Dodgers manager Dave Roberts admitted that his team had met with Ohtani in direct defiance of the secrecy mandate from the superstar's representatives. Meanwhile, Blue Jays GM Ross Atkins was conspicuously absent when the winter meetings got underway in Nashville and cited a scheduling conflict when he switched an in-person media availability to a Zoom conference. It was later reported that Blue Jays officials had met with Ohtani at the team's spring training complex in Dunedin, Florida that day. The finalists, it seemed, were emerging, and although Ohtani remained unsigned as the winter meetings wrapped, this process, one that had ensnared the baseball world for weeks, was nearing its conclusion. Which brings us to Friday, December 8th, a truly unforgettable day in MLB history, and a day that a couple veteran baseball reporters would like to have back. That roller coaster of a day began with a tweet from Jon Morosi of MLB Network, who reported that an Ohtani signing was imminent, possibly as early as today. Now at this point, mind you, the Dodgers are still considered the favorites to land him. But as this crazy day unfolded, thanks to the awesome power of the internet and some just plain wrong journalism, it actually began to look like Ohtani might spurn LA for Toronto and sign with the Blue Jays. See, shortly after Morosi's report, baseball Twitter caught wind of a post from a Blue Jays fan and amateur plane tracker who observed that a private flight from Anaheim to Toronto had popped up for later that day. He also noted that it's uncommon to see flights between those two airports. And yeah, very quickly, the cat was out of the bag. Extremely online Blue Jays fans immediately lost their minds, and after Jim Bowden of The Athletic shared that post, the entire baseball world was in a frenzy. To be clear, nobody had confirmed that Ohtani was going to be on that plane, but if you're a Blue Jays fan, how was your imagination not going to run wild? Get this, by the early afternoon, that flight from Anaheim to Toronto was the most tracked flight in the world on FlightAware, with roughly 4,000 people following its path. And that's when things got really silly. In the midst of the plane pandemonium, a Canadian opera singer of all people tweeted that then Blue Jays pitcher Yusei Kikuchi had made a reservation for that night for more than 50 people at an upscale sushi restaurant by Rogers Center. Yeah, that didn't help quash the speculation that Ohtani was on his way to Toronto to sign a deal with the Blue Jays. But while more sober-minded Toronto fans kept their expectations in check amid the plane tracking and restaurant reservation reports, even the most cynical Blue Jays fans struggled to contain themselves after what came next. Around 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, JP Hoornstra of Dodgers Nation and a longtime BBWAA member reported that Ohtani to Toronto was a done deal. He cited multiple sources in his bombshell post and added that a formal announcement could come as early as that night. It was absolutely shocking. The Blue Jays had outbid the Dodgers. They'd gotten Shohei Ohtani to leave LA for Toronto. It all seemed too good to be true. Because it was. As the minutes passed, no other local or national reporter confirmed Hoornstra's report. And before long, ESPN's Alden Gonzalez shot it down altogether, saying that Ohtani had yet to make his decision. It was a gut punch for Blue Jays fans. A gut punch. But it wasn't over. The plane was still in the air after all, and Ohtani was on that plane. He had to be, right? Well, about 2 hours after Hoornstra's report was refuted, Morosi ended an agonizing silence with a tweet that was music to the ears of Blue Jays fans. Ohtani was indeed en route to Toronto. This was it. I mean, this wasn't some internet sleuth. This was one of the game's most dialed-in, well-respected national reporters with this scoop. It was happening. Shohei Ohtani was gonna be a Blue Jay. Nope. For the second time that afternoon, Blue Jays fans had their hearts stomped on. This time, courtesy of USA Today's Bob Nightingale. Now at this point, it was hard to believe anyone. There'd been so much inaccurate reporting that day that you didn't know who to trust. Ohtani could have still been on that plane, but he wasn't. There was indeed a celebrity on that flight, but it wasn't Shohei Ohtani. It was Robert Herjavec, the Canadian-born investor and star of Dragon's Den and Shark Tank. Ohtani wasn't on the plane. He wasn't on his way to Toronto. And about a day later, Ohtani made the announcement that seemed preordained from the start. He was signing with the Los Angeles Dodgers. A 10-year deal worth $700 million, and the rest is history. Ohtani exceeded even the loftiest of expectations in the first season of his unprecedented contract, taking home a third unanimous MVP award after recording baseball's first ever 50-50 season and leading the Dodgers to a World Series championship. And the Blue Jays, meanwhile, fell flat on their faces after missing out on Ohtani, stumbling through their first losing season since 2019. And to add insult to injury, when the Dodgers visited Toronto in April, Ohtani responded to the inexplicable chorus of boos he received from Blue Jays fans by blasting a home run in his first at-bat of the series.
As Ohtani endures the boos from the Blue Jay fans, he has done damage here at Rogers Center. On 1-1, high fly ball, deep right field. Shohei in Toronto, into the bullpen. Boo that.
Hopefully though, Ohtani's free agency saga taught Blue Jays fans, and sports fans everywhere really, a valuable lesson. It's never a done deal until it's a done deal. Thanks for watching. If you like this video and want to see more content like this, hit that subscribe button.